Hey everyone, welcome to the Virtual Photography Show. I'm Barry Mountford and I'm here with Pixapro to bring you creative lighting ideas you can use in your product photography at home. It's so easy to get really deep into lighting setups and use many different lights to get the look that you want. But sometimes it's just as effective to rein that back in and create a simple lighting setup. And that's what we're going to do in this video, using simple lighting setups to enhance the image with props and creating a mood to the image using light and shadow. So we're going to go through the lighting setups of these images. I'm going to show you how it was set up and how these were lit so you can get an idea of how simple it is. Now the lighting setups were pretty much the same all the way through these images. Not much has changed apart from maybe a slight position of the light. Now I have a little shooting space at home. It's around about 7 foot square. So you will be able to create these setups at home. So if we pop up this first image here, you can see it's just a plain product shot of some shampoo. Nothing special, it looks okay, but just simply adding a tiny little bit of shadow behind that, it just makes that image a bit more appealing to look at. It just creates a different look and a feel to that image. And that's what we're going to focus on in this video, and that's what I'm going to demonstrate in this little food setup that we've got here. Now obviously you don't have to use loads of shadows, you can just use a nice glow of light. You can see from this image, just popping a nice ball of light behind gives it a really good effect, and adding a gel makes it pop even more. But to add a little bit more drama to the image, we want to be adding shadows. And shadows are key to adding the drama, they really are. And to do this, we're going to be using the Shadow Casters from Pixapro. Now the Shadow Casters are a great tool to obviously create shadows, it's in the name. Now these are available from the website, as is all of the gear that we're using. These are essentially just a gobo which go between your light source and the product. Now they're not just for product photography, you can actually use these in your portraits also. So using a hard point light source and using a gobo, you're going to allow you to create some really nice patterns either on a background or on your product shots. But we're going to be using them in with product photography, and we're also going to be using it in this demonstration also. Now the camera settings haven't changed for any of those images. They were all shot at f8 1/200th of a second, ISO 100. The only thing we have done is kind of move the lights a little bit to create a little different effect. So continuing the green theme, we've just sat the shampoo on top of another block prop which is available from Pixapro also, and we're also using the J17 backgrounds to create those sweeps in front and behind that block. So with this set of images, we've kept it simple. We're just using two lights. The City 600 in the softbox is creating a nice light coming down the side of our product. Now to get the same look on the other side, we're simply using a white reflector card to bounce that light back in and give us kind of the same look either side of that product. So if we move on to the next image, again I'm using the J17 backgrounds from Pixapro. I've just placed the trainer up against this backdrop and I'm using the shadow caster to cast those shadows running up, and it just gives a nice feel and look to the image, and it's such a simple setup. Again using two lights, the City 600 in the softbox, and we're using the 300 Pro to cast those shadows through the shadow caster just to create a nice look and feel to the image. So again for the next image, this is very similar to the first setup where we're going to be using the softbox to light the back of the trainer. We're using the white reflector card to bounce that light back up the laces, and we're just using the shadow caster to create a nice shadow on the back wall. It just adds a little bit of different feel to the image, and that's just using two lights. So I hope you've got an idea of how you can kind of create by just using two lights, keeping it nice and simple, and using the shadow casters just to create that little bit of drama and a little bit of feel to the image. So we're all set up, ready to go. I'm going to quickly walk through what we used. I'm shooting on the Nikon Z6. I'm just shooting with the 24-70. It just makes it easier for us when I'm on there. I normally shoot with a 100mm macro lens, but for this shot we're shooting at 70mm on the Nikon 24-70. Camera settings are going to be f8 1/200th of a second, ISO 100. I'm going to be firing the camera remotely, and I'm just going to pop up the images on the screen so you guys can see them. I normally shoot tethered, but just for the purpose of this video, it's easier if I just shoot it wirelessly and pop the images on the screen, so it gives me a bit more freedom to move about. So we're going to start off with one light. Now the idea behind this shot is to create some sort of kind of sunlight, window light. That's what you try to recreate every time we use off-camera flash and artificial lighting. So that's what we're going to do. But I want to create a bit more of a drama in this image, a little bit more shadow and highlight. So it kind of just gives it a little bit of something different to the image. And to do that, to achieve that, we're going to start off with the first light, and we're going to be using the Pixapro City 300 Pro, and I've got this on a snoot. Now the idea of using this on a snoot is so I can kind of really hone in the light on the main focus of this image, which is the bowl in the center with the peppers on top. And that's going to give us kind of a natural vignette around the side, and when we add the other elements later on, it'll work really well. So I'll switch that light on and I'll take a test shot and I'll show you what that looks like. I'll switch the light on so I can see where the shadows are falling. Now what I want to try and do is create the direction of light from the window. So this is going to be my direction of light. And I'm looking at the shadows now. I'm trying to see where they're going to fall. And I'm trying to get a kind of a symmetrical theme going with the shadows, so it's all falling in the right direction. You'll see what I mean once we start taking some shots. So I'll take this first shot with this the 300 Pro, and I'll show you what that looks like. I'll pop that on the screen so you can have a look. So you can see there, it kind of looks all right. It's nice and plain. Shadows are really dark though, because we're using a really small point light source, and there's a reason for that. I'll get to that. But if I don't want them shadows that dark, what I need to do is add another light as a fill. And what we're going to do is add the City 600. I'll bring that round, switch it on, and we're just going to put that in an easy open softbox. And we're literally just going to stand that behind, directly behind our key light, if you like. And what that's going to do, I'll take a shot and show you. I'll pop up the image now with just the small point light source of 300, and I'll take a shot with this and I'll show you the difference. You'll notice the difference straight away. Now what that's done there, you can see that's lifted the whole overall exposure of the image, but also lifted the shadows. So we're using both these lights in conjunction with each other to recreate that look that we're going for. But we're not finished yet because I've still got a little bit more to do. So as it stands, that's just a nice clean image with nice direction on the shadows. I really like the look of that. And we're shooting on a grey PVC background from Pixapro. Really great backgrounds. These are PVC, so they're waterproof, so easy to clean up. But now the reason for using the small point light source is because I want to create some drama. And what I'm going to be using are these. These are the Shadow Casters from Pixapro. Essentially, they're just gobos which go between your light source and your product. And what this is going to allow me to do is just cast shadows across the image. And I'll show you that now. So I'll pop this down. Now the key with this is to try and get those lines kind of matching the way the shadows are falling. You don't want them kind of going off to the side because it will look rather awkward. So there'll be a little bit of a tweaking about, but with the modern lamp on the 300, you can see exactly where those shadows are falling, and you can kind of get them lined up how you like the look of. So we'll take a shot and I'll pop that on the screen. So as you can see there, that's just got those coming across there nicely. It's quite effective. We've still got the focus on the actual bowl itself, but it's just adding a little bit of extra to the actual image. Now the top of the image is a little bit bright because obviously all of the light's hitting it, but I want to diffuse that light a little bit more. And the way I do that, using these little homemade scrims, really great and handy to have. So I'm just going to place that below with Shadow Caster, so that shadow's falling just on top of the chopping board, and that this is going to kind of resemble hitting the window ledge, and then obviously the shadows are casting over the top of the food. So we'll take a shot and I'll pop that on the screen so you can have a look at that. And you can see there, it's just creating a nice bit of drama to the image. And that's a super simple setup. Now these Shadow Casters come in all different shapes. You get loads of different shapes in these, so you can kind of play about and find which pattern looks the best. But this is a really simple setup. And if you're interested in any of this gear, folks, the links will be in the description where you can go and check that out. So there you have it. That is a simple setup, 2-light setup to create mood and drama in your photography. So there you go, folks, that is it for this video. Really hope you have enjoyed it. If you want to see more videos using the 3D block props and J70 backgrounds, head over and check out the playlist we've put together, and also the video showing you the best way to colour the 3D blocks. And hopefully we'll get to see you next year for real at the photography show. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.